Hi, I'm Paul Clark from Red Moon Software, and today I'm going to demo to you Comment Security Default. Now, in Jira, comments can have various security levels on them, but you cannot set a default. Comment Security Default allows you to set a default on those comments. So new comments are always at a particular level, or comments from within logging work, editing the issue, linking, transitions. All this can be done easily by setting defaults either at the global level or at a per project level. In addition to this, you can also set colors for some defaults. You can set a color for the border and background of the comment for comments that are viewable to all users. And you can also set a color for all the other security levels. Same thing, background color and border color. To define the configuration for global defaults and coloring, we go to the admin menus system, followed by comment security default. This screen anything set up in the screen, will be for all projects unless they define project level settings for comment security default. Also, if I set defaults for this menu item here, this applies to all projects except Service Desk. If I want Service Desk, I need to come down here and specifically enable Service Desk. I'll get onto that in a minute. Now, after checking this, I can then set defaults for assign this issue, attachments, edit issue, link issue, new comments, which is the ones at the bottom of the issue, work log, and transitions. You don't have to set all of these, you can just set whichever ones you want. So I want to set one up here for new comments, and I want to say that the security default goes through to Jira software users. So you can specify any roles or any user groups. For user groups, you have to have enabled the feature within your Jira so that those are available to your comments. Also come in here and set, I'll just leave it, set assign this issue to administrators. Transitions is a bit of a different case. We have multiple different transition screens depending on what sort of type of projects we're in and what we've also set up. So for that, we have a security default, which you can also have viewable to all users, administrators, developers, etc. And we also have a per transition defaults. So if I come in here, I can say I want viewable to all users for the test project for the done dialog. Now, there can be repeats of these because this done is the path getting through the workflow to done. So if I come back in here again, I can also see that there is another done with a different number here. So there's two different paths to get through to done. So I need to set both of those. Yeah. Also at the top here, we have a field called when default is missing. Now, because you're setting them at the global level, sometimes various options like project roles aren't available for particular projects. Because of that, we need to sort of know what to do if that happens. So by default, this is set to ignore. So if you come in, it finds that a default isn't there, then it will just fall back to all users. You can also say force user to select role or group. So that way it will come up with question marks where it normally says what the security level is, and the user will not be able to enter a comment without specifying a security level. Now, we also have colouring of fields. This can be quite good. Say, for instance, when you've got viewable to all users, we see that as a possible danger area, so we want to give this a red border so that it stands out. So the user's sort of visually prompted to say, hey, this is for all users. Be careful what you type here, or are you in the right screen? You don't have to set all these, or you don't have to set any of them. You just set the ones you want. Next, we have enable for security desk, service desk. This allows you to just have defaults for all projects apart from service desk, or include service desk. There's also a couple of options in here so that you can use non-service desk comments, and that you can show the customer tab on those even though you have defaults. So you'll come in, you'll be on the customer tab. If you change back to internal comments, you'll see the default that you have set. And lastly, we have an entry for user groups that you want to give access to comment security default. So if you want these defaults to only work and the colouring to only work for a particular group of users, then you can enter in the users in here and only have access. If you don't have anything here, then it applies to all users in Jira. Save that. As I said earlier, you can also define them at the project level. If you go into the project admin screens, you'll see a comment security default option here. Now, if I'm in here, I can override the defaults, including a reason what to do, if the value is missing, as well as the defaults for all the areas here. If I have that checked, then it only uses the project one. So if I come through in here and I disable all these, then there will be no defaults. Same goes with colouring. If I have that checked, then it will use this colouring rather than the global one. So if I don't have that checked, but I have defaults checked, then I will get local defaults, global colouring, and vice versa will be global defaults, local colouring. For the moment, I'll just leave that off. So if I come into an issue now, if you remember back from the configuration, we set the new comment and assign to having defaults. So if I create a new comment, you'll see that we have a load of question marks here. That's because we said for selection. If we look at the options here, we have all users, administrators, and developers. Now we set up the default to be for Jira software users. So that isn't available. So now it's forcing us to enter something. It's saying you must select a permission, and then I need to go in and select a permission to all users, or say developers, before I can enter a comment. Let's break out of that. If I come to the other option, which is assign, you'll see that it automatically defaults to administrators, which was the default that we gave for assign. There is no colouring we defined for this, but if we change through to all users, which we did set a colouring for, we set a red border, you'll find that it has now got a red border. If I change that back to administrators or developers, then you don't have a red border. If I come into one of the other areas which has comments, like edit issue, scroll down, I find that there is no default set. So it's just instantly going to all users, and there is a red border because even though there's no default, we have still specified what the colouring is for issues. The same applies for other options like log work and link, as well as any transition dialogues that occur. Now we'll look at a service desk issue. If we come in and create a comment within here, we still get the question marks because that option I set is not available for this project. I have not turned on using user groups for security levels. You do get two different tabs here. If I don't set a default, then it automatically lands on the Respond to Customer tab. Otherwise, it comes to the Internal Comment tab. These tabs will hide or show the button down below here that you can see for comment internally here and share with customer here. This stops users choosing the wrong option. They get a tab and they go on to the correct tab. Now for Respond to Customer, there is no colouring settings. So if you change back and forth, you'll see that it now colours because this is an internal comment. This is not viewable to all, but it's question marked, so therefore it's highlighted with the viewable to all colouring. Same applies to all the other settings. We have the tabs, we can change between them. This one doesn't hide or show buttons, but does hide and show the security level. So Respond to Customer, there is no security level because otherwise the customer wouldn't see it. Internal, you do have a security level. That's it for the demo today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line. Also, if you have any features that you'd like, please feel free to mention them. If I think they're valuable and they'd be good for the plugin, then we'll develop them for free. Thank you.